Možemo. Ekipa, are you ready?
Ready.
Zoran, you ready? Okay.
Born ready.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Može. Hello, everybody. Thanks you for coming. I hope you got some rest and you had a great lunch. We are back here on another panel discussion. Today we are talking about the topic from insight to impact, recognition of youth voices in driving Western Balkans 6 growth and integrity. Welcome to the session. Today with us, my name is Selmir Smajic and I'm gonna moderate this session today. With us today, and I'm delighted to introduce our respected guest, Mrs. Mirjana Mirosavljević-Bobić, from Project Manager at Foundation Ana and Divac, Mr. Zoran Nechev, Policy and Advocacy Fellow at Think Europe, and Luka Čavdek, representative of the Interreg Italy-Slovenia program. Thank you for coming. I hope you find yourself here, find the pleasure being here. So, our topic is going to talk about our region, Western Balkans 6, where corruption and weak governments remain a critical problem and obstacle in sustainable growth. Empowering youth voices is essential for shaping a transparent and prosperous Western Balkans 6. This session is going to highlight the Youth Participation Index, YPI, as an evidence-based tool that measures the level and the quality of youth engagement across the Western Balkans. We will discuss how youth voices and integrity-driven actions can contribute to regional growth, accountability, and EU integrations. So I'm gonna let our panelists maybe to introduce themselves more, and we can start the discussion about this topic. Thank you. Mrs. Irena?
Thank you so much. I think it's the situation that every speaker is dying for, to be the first to speak after the lunch, but somehow we will survive. So thank you for the introduction. I will just shortly say a few words about my background. I'm an activist for over 20 years, mostly in a feminist movement and anti-trafficking and anti-labor exploitation movement. So I just recently, like 2 years ago, joined the Divac Foundation and more working on youth issues. So Divac Foundation, since the beginning, 18 years ago, it was officially established, really had since the beginning focus on the people being in vulnerable situations and mostly women and young people. So the youth is the main focus of the foundation since 2007 on the different level, either providing the scholarships for the education for students coming from underprivileged families and communities, then establishing Divac Youth Funds, who are actually gathering young people and giving them a training and resources to make decisions on the initiatives coming from their peers. Also, we are supporting young people with disabilities and their employment by, among other things, connecting them with the interested employers. And also what we are doing on the national level, we are developing different tools. One of them is the Youth Well-being Index, which is actually a national tool for monitoring and evaluating youth strategy in Serbia. And this index actually was made based on Youth Participation Index that I'm going to talk about it. And it's true that Divac is coordinating the process around Youth Participation Index, but in a very close partnership with the organizations that I really want to mention this time. And these are Beyond Barriers from Albania, Institute for Youth Development CULT from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Democracy for Development from Kosovo, NGO Prima from Montenegro, Youth Alliance Kruševo from North Macedonia, and Community Volunteers Foundation from Turkey. And we are all part of the Youth Hub for Western Balkans and Turkey, which is informal network gathering over 60 organizations for youth and youth organizations working on youth participation. So we came together in 2016 actually to make a summary of the data regarding youth participation in political, in economic and social life in their respective countries. And this is how Youth Participation Index was established. As you said, it's like a tool, data-driven tool, which is addressing policymakers, youth organizations, and other advocates who are working in the field of youth participation, in order, when they have this overview, like a comprehensive overview, that they are able to make more informative and more appropriate decisions. Because in connection with youth, but with all group of people, there is the rule that they are not homogeneous group of people, and you can't apply the rule one size fits all. Because even if we have a similar or same needs, we are fulfilling our needs in a totally different way, so we have to have that in mind. So I have to make one note here saying that Youth Participation Index doesn't refer to the outcomes, meaning we are not measuring the ways and the quality how young people are participating. It more refers on the inputs, meaning what is the political, economic or social context that in one way encourage or discourage youth participation. So we made like 25 indicators, which seems not that much, but having in mind that we are 7 countries, we come together and make the list of those that we are sure that are comparable between our countries and that we are able to get data for. Also, what is make this index a little bit different than the other indexes is that we are dealing only with official, publicly available data. And there are different reasons why I decided about it. One of them is that state officials can say, oh, these are your data, your NGO data, who knows what sample you had, you probably have a hidden agenda, you want to present things much worse than they are, because I don't know, but I'm a little bit sure that in many of our countries, NGOs and state officials doesn't always have the relationship full of respect and understanding and trust. But also the other reason is to be able to follow is the public narrative about youth participation from the state is in correlation with this publicly available data. Because just recently, our colleague 5 days ago from Montenegro, she said that she was in a big conference about social protection of young people, and she posed the question because they had a project, they wanted to work on employability of young people without parental care. And she said that no one from the local government, from the local Center for Social Work, or from the institution that is actually taking care about young people without parental care didn't want to connect them with the young people. And she asked why. And on that question, one of the state officials said, but this is because there is no unemployed people in Montenegro. So according to data that we have, and these are publicly available official data, there are more than 20% of unemployed people in Montenegro. So I will just say that, you know, the narrative and the data doesn't always come hand in hand. So I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to list all the indicators that we are measuring, but just for you to have the context, because afterwards I will share the most recent data. What we are measuring in terms of political participation, we are measuring percentage of young people who are the ministries in the government. young parliamentarians or young mayors or presidents of the municipalities, because we want really to tackle the national but also the local level as well. In terms of economic participation, we are measuring percentage of NEET young people. NEET, I'm sure many of you are familiar, but these are young people who are not employed, not in education, or not in any kind of training currently. Also, the percentage of young people who are unemployed, or the rate of activity among young people on the labor market, or the percentage of self-employed people. In terms of social participation, what we are measuring is the percentage of young people who are in the risk of poverty, which means that they are living with the incomes which are a little bit or around 60% of median salary in our countries. We are also measuring the percentage of young people in prisons, or the percentage of young people who enrolled tertiary education, but this first level, not PhD or MA, and the number of people who graduated from tertiary education. So recently many people come to us and ask us, okay, but why you are making this youth participation index? No one cares about statistics, it's so boring. I'm not to argue about it, is it boring or not, but I would say that statistics was never so much around us, I would say. For all of us who are in this digital world, having the website, being on the social networks, being on the different platforms, I would say that we really care a lot about how many followers, how many likes, how many views, and so on and so on. So I would say that statistic, it's quite important for us, or something that we are following. So I'm not statistical expert, and I love statistics, but I'm not saying that it can give the whole picture, definitely not. But I think that it's maybe one of the good starting points when in this situation youth participation is in question. But there are several advantages of using the Youth Participation Index. First of advantages is that it can summarize very complex, multidimensional youth-specific data. Another advantage that it's easier to, see on one place this whole picture than to interpret each indicator separately. Also, you can assess the progress over time to see what are the trends and how things are changing in terms of youth participation. And what is important for us as the partners in the Western Balkan region is that we can see what are our common challenges, because as I've learned from the previous sessions, we can be much stronger if we are together as a region than as the individual countries. So we really want to see if we have the similar challenges, then we are sure that then our solutions can be similar as well. And we don't see how something that it's work in Albania, because the contexts are pretty much the similar, couldn't work in Montenegro or in Serbia or in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So it's not comparison for the sake of comparison and, like compete between ourselves and say, we are better, you are worse, because we are not very good, any of us anyway, but more to see how we can work together in improving the position of young people in our countries. But we are also dealing with a lot of challenges as well. So collecting data, especially this official data, is a time-consuming process because, for example, for political participation, we are making manual data collection, which means that the researchers has to go through the websites for example, of all the parliaments, to see the list of the parliamentarians, to see their age, you know. Also, you know, they have to go through the website on social networks of municipalities, of the governments, of the parliaments, to see are they communicate in the, let's say, youth-friendly manner, as they say they do. But majority of data we are actually collecting through the state statistical offices. You know, and I would say that when we started in 2016, it was the nightmare, but things, we really have to admit, improved. So majority of data that we are needing, that we need, we really can obtain these days. The other challenges is one very important note, and I will tell you about it when we come to the presentation of data, is that the data that we are collecting, for example, if you want to collect data for 2025, they will be available only in October, or even in some countries in November in 2026. Which means that only now we are ready to collect data for 2024. So the data that we will present are really the most recent one that are coming from 2023, because they were available only in October and actually November 2024. And this is the big challenge. Because when we are presenting data, usually people from state institutions tell us, oh, but you don't have updated data. We said, yeah, because you did not update it, because we are collecting the data that you posted. It doesn't mean that they don't have it for their own usage earlier, but just they are not publicly available before these months that I told you. Also, the choice of indicators is limited. As I said, 25 indicators is not a lot. But on the other hand, we were really trying to choose those indicators that, as I said, can be comparable through the countries, but also that can give more or less comprehensive picture how the youth participation looks like in the Western Balkan region and Turkey as well. And also, like with every data, there could be misinterpretation of data, of course. That's why we decided not only to publish index as such, but also to write the monitoring report where we are explaining either some of our methodological challenges, because the researchers trying all the time to adjust the methodologies in order to be able to collect more accurate information, but also to pose some question. Because as I said, we don't have resources to go deeply into research why some of the data are like that. But we are giving on the plates to those who has more resources to go deeper into the reason and consequences of some of the data. So before I show you the last data that we have, I just want to pose one question to you. What do you think? From 1 to 100, 1 being the worst value and the 100 being the, let's say, the best value, not ideal, because we are looking up to the, our target value is the target value from EU countries. Why? Because all of these countries sign up for being the part of EU one day. So in that sense, we want to see where are we at that map. So what do you think, from 1 to 100, where are we as the region in terms of youth participation? Just give us the number randomly. 1, okay. Can you be louder? 30, okay.
Can we get a microphone maybe?
9. 69, okay. Okay, if this would be a licitation, you will be the winner because you were the close. I mean, the situation is not good, but it's not that bad. So we are like together. When we take the average percentage, we are close to 61%. But you know, have in mind that this 100 doesn't mean ideal situation. It just means that this is the currently the best value in EU. It doesn't mean that EU has the also ideal situation that in that terms, but still we as the region are very much behind of the EU countries. Also, I think, Annelia, you are going to maybe show just to see by the countries how it look like. So you see, we are very even. You know, there is not a lot of difference between our countries. More or less, we are there. So I have another question to ask you. What do you think? How many young people under 30 are in the ministry position in our Western Balkan region? 12%. 12%. Mm-hmm.
Are you asking, for example, from all young people, how many of them are engaged, or, for example, in government?
In the government, how many of these are the people under 30? In the ministry's position?
Ministries.
So the ministers.
Yeah,
3%.
3%. Okay. 1%. 0%. No, 0%. Zero is the number. So since 2016, there is a 0% of young ministries in our governments. So, yeah, no, it's zero. So we will see some countries been through elections recently, so we will see in the future what data shows, but we don't have the ministries under 30. And usually when you are talking about it, when you present data to state officials, they would say, yeah, but you shouldn't measure that indicator because you know what you have to experience, how much experience you need to have to be in the ministry position. Like we do have a long history of very well ministries over 30 and they set up the bar really high. But when you ask them, okay, but how come that young people can vote, can work, can pay taxes, can get married, having children, provide for the families, going to prison? How come that they are old enough or mature enough for all these very responsible tasks, but not to being on a high level decision-making positions? They don't have very elaborated answer on that. So coming to local level, what do you think, which countries out of these Western Balkans countries, okay, which countries do have mayors or presidents of municipalities who are under 30? None? Well, there are two. This is North Macedonia, which according to data from 2023 do have 1.2% of young people among mayors or presidents of municipalities, and Serbia with 0.6. According to my information, it's the only one person in the municipality Bački Petrovac, I think. So as I said, maybe situation after some recent elections will change, but these are the last available data that we are talking about. Also, you will see here the member of the parliaments. So I wouldn't say that situation, of course it's not zero, with Kosovo being almost 5%, which is a very good achievement, but with other countries not having so much young parliamentarians. The next, what I wanted to ask you about economic participation. What do you think is the percentage of unemployed people in North Macedonia? Young people. Yeah, we are now talking only about young people from 50. 20%. Mm-hmm. 17%. Okay. Anyone else? Mm-hmm. 15. Okay. So the percentage of unemployed young people in North Macedonia for the data for 2023 is almost 24.9. Why I choose North Macedonia, to ask you about North Macedonia, not only because we are here, but also because North Macedonia, even though it's the highest percentage among all the countries in the Western Balkans, but in case of North Macedonia, every year since 2016, there is decrease of unemployment in Macedonia. But having in mind that Macedonia is the pioneer in this implementation of Youth Guarantee Program, do you know, are you familiar with Youth Guarantee Program? Okay, just shortly, Youth Guarantee Program is the program of EU that started, I think, more than 10 years in EU countries, which guarantee to young people who finished education that they will find a job. They're helping them to find a job within 4 months after the finishing education. So among Western Balkans countries, Macedonia was the first one to pilot this program in 2019, I believe. And it would be really interesting, because I know that in Serbia there are a lot of problems with that program, but it would be interesting in case of North Macedonia to see, for those who really have resources for track this and investigate, is it that this decrease of unemployment is also due to this program or due to something completely else? Sorry, I can't. Okay. Just like the one state official said in Montenegro, there is no unemployed people in, yeah. Okay. So I also want to show you some other data. For example, NEET rate, which is, you will see we are more or less similar among us, but we are also far from EU average value, which is 11.2%. Even though EU has this target till 2030 to have less than 7% of people who are in the NEET situation. But just I will make here a small remark. When we are talking about NEET young people, also to be clear that it's not that all NEET people in NEET situation are living the same, under the same circumstances. Because NEET person can be a young person who just finished the education and have the possibility and have the resources to travel around the world or around Europe, and they just don't, they just postpone their employment and further education. But also it can be a very marginalized young person who doesn't have, who maybe take care about someone from their family, and they have that kind of burden on their shoulders, and that they are not able to looking for a job. So for you to know that there is the different profiles of NEET people. And sometimes we are looking for these different programs like Youth Guarantee or My First Salary in Serbia, whatever. We are always questioning ourselves, are they reaching those who are in the biggest need, those who are really marginalized, or they are reaching those who would be anyway be employed sooner or later, but I would say much sooner than later. So just to have that in consideration. Also, we have to be aware of the fact that the gender gap between young men and young women is also big. Almost in every indicator, we are noting that young women are in much worse position and that they are participating much less than a young man. So, Annelia, can you play the next slide just to show? So you will see about economic participation, about need rates of young men and women, except for Montenegro, where are they almost on the same level. In every other country, the gap is pretty big. Also, comparing labor force participation of young women and men, you would see that the young men are more active than the young women. And especially when we are talking about age range, the least active are the young women in the age from 25 to 29. So it could be explained by the traditional gender roles, and in the moment when the young women start the family, take care of the children or any other family members, they somehow postpone either their employment or their education as well, because it's also visible in the indicators considering education. So this is something that we are measuring for every indicator. So about social participation, I want to ask you one question. What do you think is the percentage of young people in prison in Serbia, for example? In 2023. It would be very interesting to see data from 2025. Yeah, but we will have to wait for that. So what do you think? In 1 year and a half ago, what was the? 50. 50 or 15? 5 or 1 5?
She said 15.
15, okay. 6. Okay. 35. 35%, which is for 12% increase comparing with the previous year. And I'm not sure that anyone is, from those who are responsible, really exploring, at least we don't know about it, why it happened. And as you mentioned, it would be really interesting to see data for 2025, having in mind what's happening these days in Serbia. So I can share with you some maybe two more indicators. For example, the percentage of young people who are at risk of poverty. And just to give you one note, because Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina joined us last year for the index, and they were missing several data in social participation, so we did not calculate social participation for these countries. But for example, percentage of young people at risk of poverty is the biggest in North Macedonia, 25%, and lowest in Serbia, 19.2%. Also, young people who are part of the social welfare system is the less in Montenegro and in Serbia. But we really have to be careful about it, because it doesn't necessarily mean that in these countries young people are living better than in other countries. It could mean, we don't know, because we are giving data, and it should be explored in more detail. It could mean also that maybe it's very complicated in Serbia and Montenegro. The process of, I don't know, collecting documentation and everything to apply for the social benefit system is much complicated than in other countries. So just to take into consideration that any data could be taken for granted, you know, and the real picture we have only when we cross-check all data. And I will finish with several recommendations that we are always giving for the state officials or for the, I don't know, youth organizations in our monitoring report. In terms of political participation of young people, we are giving recommendation that the state institutions should work much more on building the trust among young people and those who are on the decision-making positions. Also, there is necessity to advocate for the possibility of building youth councils, parliaments, trade unions, and everything. In Serbia, you have so many youth offices and youth councils, but it doesn't mean that all of them are functional. So just to take that in consideration. And one general, like promoting politics and democratic participation among young people. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, yeah.
May I ask, do you have also data on BPOC youth?
Sorry?
Just wait for the mic.
Because
please.
I can't hear.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to ask if you have also data of youth of BPOC. Do you have also data about BPOC? I mean,
Deputy.
No, people of color.
Ah, okay.
Youth,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
of color. Do you
yeah,
have also
yeah,
data?
yes,
Because you
yes.
didn't mention that.
Yes,
Thank you.
but the reason why I didn't mention that, because you don't have a lot of publicly available data about, for example, in case of Serbia and many countries, for example, Roma people. Because, you know, this is all the time the problem. We were advocating not only for data to be systematized and publicly available, but also to be disaggregated. And so far, we succeeded somehow to have data disaggregated by the gender, but by the, I don't know, are the people of color in question, or are they living in urban areas or rural areas? Still, for many indicators, we don't have that.
Why not?
But because we should ask, as I said, we are dealing only with official, publicly available data.
Maybe you can talk to them and ask for that.
We talk to them all the time, believe me, you know. But you know what? For some, let's say, how to say, personal traits or whatever, you know, it's also tricky, you know. They would say to you, you know, but we can't ask someone to identify it as whatever, you know. So they always have this kind of answers. But thank you for the question. It's not that we are not collecting this data. We would love to collect them, but they are not available.
I understood. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Is there any, I mean, there will be time for the question. I will just finish with several more recommendations, and I'm done. Did I?
Just keep it like short because
Yeah,
we have
very.
two more speakers and the hot chair is waiting for our audience.
Okay,
So,
maybe I will give the floor to other speakers, and anyway, we will leave in a WhatsApp group the link to the monitoring report so you can see all the data at one place. Thank you.
Mrs. Mirjana, thank you very much for this insight. It's very different to see our region in the numbers, and the numbers aren't giving us a good picture of our region. That's why we are here to talk about it and make some changes in the region. Again, thank you very much for the insight. Mr. Lorca, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope that you are doing well. For me, I must admit, it's a little bit strange. This morning I was on the other side, so among you, and now I'm here. So I will try to keep it short and interesting somehow. But I would just like to point out another data that maybe Mirjana will correct me if I'm wrong, that only 20% of young people in the West Balkan countries actually finish their university studies. And for me, that was kind of surprising. I don't know like what the situation is in Italy, but in Italy, basically, there is a bunch of people graduating, finishing at university, and then we have like a problem of too many like jobs, not that many opportunities for that big group of young people that actually finish a study. So now I would like to ask you something, so please raise your hand if you fit into the group. Who of you is actually a university student or has finished a university or any type of education after high school?
That's some good numbers.
So as you might seen or noticed, the majority of us here, I put myself into this group, are university students or graduates or whatever. And that's kind of interesting because it relates to another story that I would like to share with you. So last year, I took part with another 100 young people from Europe and all over the world in a consultation process about the future of Interreg. And for those that don't know what Interreg is, it's the whole name is European Cooperation, Territorial Cooperation, and it's basically, those are programs that deal with cross-border cooperation and how countries can together cooperate to solve issues in border regions. So in this occasion, we gathered all together in this fancy building in Commission, in Brussels, in a Commission building. And like the first question they asked, or one of the first questions was this one that I just asked you. So who of you is actually a university student? And basically the whole room raised their hand. And then the next point that the moderator made in that occasion was, but what about the others? Like, where are the others? Like, where are the need people, the people who just finished high school and are employed? Because when we speak about youth participation and youth engagement in politics or society in general, we always, not skip, but those people that are actually engaged are usually university students or people who had the possibility to study. And so that was kind of struck me in a positive way, I would say. And then I had the chance to propose a project on my own that was later supported by the European Commission, and to kind of try and involve high school students into an European policy that it's not known to young people, or it's like, it has an impact on our daily life. Like, I'm coming from a border region, so like I live in the impact that Interreg has on that region, but I didn't know about it. And then, so I thought, like, why not try and actually give young people the opportunity to express what they would like to see and how would they like to tackle a challenge that they see in their local community and their local environment. And so we proposed a competition, a really simple one, where young people had the opportunity to choose one problem and propose one solution. And it was amazing, I would say, to see how young people actually see and recognize the challenges that communities have, and their proposals, how to solve them, are actually good. They're not just like words, but they're actually good, concrete proposals. And I was surprised, to say the least, that then this was kind of kept going, and now it's in the second edition, and hopefully it would go on. But for me, it was surprising, and I would like to say that young people have the ideas, have the knowledge, have the motivation to be part. And at least from my experience, I know maybe it's a rare one, the institutions, both at a regional, national, even European level, are ready to support us, are ready to give us the space and give us the funding, the possibility to be part of the change. And so before, I will be really short, I promise. Before I conclude, I would like to go back to the report and the index that was previously mentioned. And it clearly shows that there is a lack of youth participation, youth engagement in different ways, both in political, society, and economical. And there is something that has to be changed. But what, like it was said before this morning, what are we actually doing? Like, what are the changes that we are bringing to the floor, to the space, to the society where we live? And so, before concluding, I would just like to say that I believe that all of us have great ideas, great possibilities to actually propose a change. We have just to I know it's kind of cliche to say, but we have to believe in them. And institution will follow. Like, if we don't believe in something, then it's going to be so much harder to actually see a change. So I would conclude with this thought, like, please, when you get home, I know that many of you are already active and have a lot of amazing ideas and things that you're already doing, but please find something that you're passionate about and actually propose a change, propose something, and believe in it. So yeah, that's all from me, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Volka. Thank you for your insights. Now I will invite Mr. Zoran to tell us more about governance, more about corruption in our region. I think he's the best guy to talk about that here at this moment. Thank you, Zoran.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Meanwhile, listening to the other speakers, I thought it would be much more beneficial for the audience kind of to reflect a little bit on what has been kind of presented, and also try to be a bit more provocative, and also to learn from you, because I'm working for a think tank organization that deals with European integration. So I don't deal with the youth. So for me, it's also, kind of engaging with you is also kind of a learning process. But it's important for me to understand, because there are so many things that are happening in the world, in Europe, in the Balkans, the wider area, it's Southeast Europe, not the Western Balkans, which is very interesting, but at the same time, there is this availability of data that we have seen, but I don't know what you mean, what you think about it, but if I look the political participation, 0% below 30 and 0 point whatever, 6, 7, regardless if it's 1. That's awful, guys. Hey. Sorry to say, but that's really awful. And then there is a lot of, pointing the finger to who is to be blamed for this. But it's also that you have to change the way you act also. Because we are living in these countries, which really, rarely who gives a care about any kind of other group than his own, or his personal, or her personal, kind of personality. And here I include the youth. So part of the whole why we have this data is also because of, you're part of the problem, you're part of the solution. That's how I see it. I don't expect, maybe that's only me, and dealing with EU integration for the Western Balkans, and here is Turkey also, No one will open the door for you. If you don't fight, if you don't kind of knock on each and every door, no one will open the door for you. Don't expect that, people will come and say, they're very open, fine. They will say it officially, there is an open door, but then nothing will happen if you don't push for any kind of solution or a change. I don't know how many of you I have heard gazillion of speeches by EU officials. In almost all of them, what I see, youth is the future. You are the future. Fine, okay, you are the future. That's true, because all those old folks will die one day, and you will be the one that will come on the forefront. But until then, I don't see you as a future. I see you as a kind of a, deciding factors. Because obviously, and if we see certain, recent, very extreme, bad kind of decisions on an EU level, and I will take Brexit, the deciding factor were actually those old guys that will live 10, 15 years more, and that's about it. Because if you see the rate for approval to remain in the European Union was the highest among the youth. It was lowest among the elderly, and the other way around. So the decision on the future, because the youth is the future, was decided by the guys which are above 70, 75 years old, and not the ones which are younger and should live and, they thought that they will live in something in which they will have a freedom of movement. Now you are in the same line with us, waiting, to cross the Schengen area. So this is just one example. And there are a lot of movements. So I don't deal with youth, but I know that there is a kind of an idea in the whole movement in the European Union to lower the voting age. Only 3 or 4 countries have actually lowered the age from 18 to 16. I know Austria is one, and I think that's one of the first ones that actually in the European Union have lowered. You have Germany lowering, but it's also only on regional and local, not on federal. And you have Greece and Malta. One of them is 16, the other one is 17. All the others are still at 18. So one of the elements how you can also, these political elites can hear your voices is also by pushing this age limit to go down for voting. And then, as I understood, according to UNICEF definition, youth is until 35. So there is from 16 till 35, that's a quite big range of population or voters that can vote for something they believe in. Because if not, you will have people like, these old guys. You have Trump, you have Putin, in Turkey you have Erdogan. They're not the youngest one, on the planet. So don't expect someone to give you and open the door and to give you the floor. They will provide funding, they will provide opportunities, but it's up to you in the end. And the time that, we lived comfortably, it's nice, everything, we're happy, I think that's done. So not only you as youth, but you could be the driver of returning the trust to democracy. Otherwise, we will end up, in a direction that we don't want to end up, actually. Going from democracy to more authoritarian regimes. I know it's much easier. So if you are maybe youth sitting and never dealt with politics and sitting in front of, Instagram and everything else, it's much easier when you see all of these guys, reaching decisions like this without any kind of participation, with any kind of, problem or kind of discussion within the society. But, democracy is not the easiest mode of governance. But anyways, at least it provides opportunity for participation. And if you don't participate, if you don't push, no one will listen to you. I put myself in this, in your shoes. But you have to also put in my shoes when we push, for example, for integration in the Western Balkans. Okay, there are many other things on the global stage that, these political elites in Western Europe, in larger European Union, have to decide on. And if you don't push this, no one will really care about it. And that's the reality. So we are now suffering, so democracy is suffering this kind of trust deficit. And you have to realize that there is this deficit of trust. And it's not only among the youth, it's widespread deficit. But it's also a question, is there any other kind of mode of governance in which we can have more trust? So then we have to return to the basis, whatever this let's say, there is this lack of trust, how to return it to trust the institutions. That's the main thing. In what kind of society do you want to live in? Because if I see the youth in the Balkans, they already live in the EU. Most of them finish university and they go to the European Union. They don't stay, and they're not staying. And if you ask them, I don't know the data, but I know that it was above 50%. If you ask them, are you going to leave tomorrow? They will say, yes, we will leave. So the question is how we can use whatever the opportunities we have in these societies in order to kind of return the trust in democracy. And you have to participate in that. It's extremely difficult if the youth stays on the side. Then okay, you can complain that you're unheard, then you can complain that you are, kind of, you are not recognized in the society. All of that is true. No one, will say that that's not true. The question is, okay, how we can, change the dynamics. And instead of being unheard, how you can be actually heard. I was in the States 2 weeks ago, when one of those days that I was staying in the States, Charlie, this Kirk guy was killed. For a right-winger, he had quite a nice and liberal way of discussing with his fellow students. I have never seen a kind of, he's not a student, but a young person with his beliefs going in, university campuses and speaking and openly discussing. You may like him, you may not like him, but I think the way he approached the other students, for a person, young person, which has, let's say, right-wing beliefs, I think it was quite innovative. And then the whole thing is that either we are going to kind of not talk to our counterparts, which have different opinion, or we are going to engage directly in discussion and, kind of, have a discussion and then see which way it's better. Because those are the two ways. So you either, confront those people directly, or not those people, the ones which have different opinion of you, or you would just, kind of cancel it. They don't exist in our society. They do. They do. It's the same in politics. It's the same everywhere. It's not about, kind of left or right wing. It's all over the place. So engagement is crucial. And, comparing to my generation, I'm 43 years old. We didn't have all this social media. Yeah, they're kind of drivers for polarization, and this is obvious. But, your voice can be, heard much easier to a large masses of people. I still, just a couple of years ago, I started using Instagram. So just to tell you how, we didn't have that kind of possibility to engage with so many people. You do, and it's much more easier. But it's if you're going to take action or not. It's easier, I can sit in front of the computer, like scroll the time, and then complain the world is not good, is not functioning, look at these idiots, what kind of solutions they're making. All of that is fine. But then when it comes to, it will knock you on your head, then that's it. Then it's late. So we need to change all of this. Ask and push to be the kind of let's say, co-creators of this, kind of reinvented democracy. Don't wait, for someone else to reach decision in your name. Because if you are kind of together and your voice is much stronger, then also these political elites that will say there are no unemployment, because all of these people don't want to look at the data because, they feel irrelevant afterwards, then it will be much easier for you to push and they to recognize what is the reality. Because the name of the panel is from Insight to Impact, and if I see political participation, impact is zero. Okay, the numbers are going up, and it's better and better, but then the impact, especially on political, and this is where I speak about political, they're very low. I have been working previously, in my previous life, I have been working for the Macedonian administration. I have been working for an institution which is called Secretariat for European Affairs. The Netherlands, Germany, and France was offering scholarship for employed young people in the Secretariat to go in these countries for master studies, to learn for a year based on the chapters that we have in the European integration process, and then return. The only thing was that they will remain in the public administration for 3 more years, or 5, depending on how big the scholarship was. after a couple of years, they decided not to, the embassies decided not to fund the program anymore, because the only thing that, the political elites need to do is to retain these people in the public administration. They didn't even want to do that, because it was easier. A guy from my political party, which was yesterday, putting these kind of placards on the street, vote for my, leader, those are much more appreciated than the ones which really have an education. And of course, they find their way in the world afterwards. They're not going to wait for the state to employ them. But, that's the easier way. No one in the administration was actually one or two ministers that actually fought for this. All the others, they didn't care, because they put the party in front of the actually, the young, educated people. So these things needs to be changed. So try not to be the beneficiary of the whole thing, but try to influence and kind of promote and push for your participation inside, and try to discuss these policies. It won't be easy. It was never easy. And don't expect someone to. Again, I will repeat that. Maybe I'm kind of repetitive, but starting from being, let's say, move to a more active role in the society. And then maybe you are the ones which are represented here, which are very active, but then you also need to talk with those your fellow students which are not that active. They need to engage. Because what we are going to see, and this is already happening, we are going to see less and less space for you guys, youth, but also for the, as I'm representative of the civil society, all this civic space. I think we will have a shrinking of that civic space in almost all the countries. We are seeing even now in the budgets, not only of these Southeast European countries, but also European countries, US, moving the budget from social, moving it from education, and directing to more weapons. So now the NATO standards is 5%. This money will be taken from somewhere, and then they will put on more military. And then again, of course, we are going to lose the youth, we are going to lose the social system. The product of that will be more radical people in the society, because the weapons will be the ones that will speak the power, not actually, brains. And now with the, with kind of social, let's say, political construct that we have now in the world, that will be very difficult. I will stop there. Maybe it wasn't directly what you have asked, but I think it was important to be said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zoran. And now I would like to open the hot chair for our audience here, our participants, so they can ask you the questions. I hope that you are ready to answer. And we have a first person who wants to ask a question for you. Welcome. You have the microphone here.
So, hello everyone, I'm Roxana from Eurodemos Romania. I just wanted to ask you about the Youth Participation Index, because I understand you only deal with raw data and you don't provide interpretation, but I'm just curious if you noticed any significant discrepancies among years since you started collecting this data, and if they are correlated with any political events. Just correlated, you don't have to provide causation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. We did notice the change in the trends, especially, for example, in the economic participation during the COVID. For example, especially in Montenegro, the numbers of the percentage of young people who are unemployed was increased. So which tell us that, data are in the connection with the context. About the political, we didn't see a lot of changes. So as I said, because there are some commotions or some engagement of young people, proactivity of young people going on, not only in Serbia, in the region as well. We need to wait for the future, to see, is it going to be, implicated, seen in data. Even though I have to say that, like it or not, me personally think that there are more different alternative forms of democracy and democratic engagement, not only through voting and through parliaments and through government, but still, like it or not, it's not, let's say, maybe not the only way, but the most legitimate way or influential way to make a change. But we didn't notice the trend of big changes in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To join us. You're free. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Alia, and from Germany. I have a question, and I'm sorry.
Take your time, don't worry.
Yes, I have. I forgot in English. Okay, I know.
No.
I have. Do you know how youth can change the society?
Okay. This is a big question. This is a big question. Yes. Maybe Luca, from the young perspective.
I mean, from my experience, it's just a matter of trying. There isn't a single answer, like there isn't a secret recipe. It's just a matter of trying and proposing and actually believing in what you are saying. Because, I mean, I have the feeling when we speak with a lot of young people my age, we say a lot of things, but we actually don't believe in them. And so maybe just believe in what you're saying, believe in what you're trying to accomplish, and try. Like, try different things. Maybe one thing doesn't work, the second neither, but sooner or later something will click and there will be a change. But yeah, I don't have like a secret recipe, I'm sorry.
Mentioned some of the recipe. You have to get engaged. You cannot leave someone else to decide on your behalf. That's why, it will be up to you in the end. You are the youth. You know your own needs. I'm not that old, but I know specifically your needs. You have to find your own representatives in the society that can amplify the voices of the youth. And that, empower and push this person forward. Whether there is on elections or kind of through the social media thing, whatever it is. But these are the, you know your own needs. You know which person can represent you as a specific target group. And then with everything that you have, push these people to go, on the forefront, in the political discussion, their voices to be heard by the political elites, or engage politically in the end. Without the fear of this will be kind of misunderstood, maybe I won't say, precisely, I cannot say the data 26.5, because you have, on the political elite, you have many idiots, sorry to say, which don't care about this. They just go out, say things which are completely untrue, factually not correct, and they don't care. They just go, say it, and then, let it through. Let people discuss it. He said it, and then some of them will support him, some of them don't. Don't bother about the small things. Focus on what you want to achieve, and, try to have as much kind of representatives as possible and give them all your voices, this social media, the likes, the share, everything that is possible in order to get to more people. That's I think, I don't know if this is the recipe. This is how I think that you as a youth should do. I see that, we can do the revolution, but, changing the system through the system is very important. You have the democracy instrument to participate. We don't have to invent a new system. The system is there, exists. The question is how you are going to use it. If you are 5 people, no one would care. If you are 50,000 people, a lot of people will start being interested. If you are 500,000 youth, and they say these are our demands, this is what we want, and we want to see this. You're coming from Germany. We want to see this in the political programs of CDU-CSU. We want to see it in the program of SPD, not only on federal level but also on regional level. Then this is the way forward, because they know that you will vote differently, or you will vote for them if they put this in their programs. And then you will ask them to be accountable to you. If they have promised, I don't know, increasing the percentage, whatever the percentage is, then you will ask them like, yeah, but what are with the policies? Have we achieved this? And don't shy away from the statistics. Our statistic is the best way to measure it. Because otherwise we'll be, this whataboutism, it was like, yeah, but we did it, without saying anything concretely. So I think one of the recipes, there is many other recipes, I guess, there. This is how I see that one of the key recipes can be this. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add? Okay, thank you. Good job. Do we have, okay, come here. Join us on the stage.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I don't know if it's a question or just a question to understand something that was said. You mentioned like Charlie Kirk and that he is like innovative kind of, and I think it's really difficult when opinions aren't democratic anymore, and yeah, I think it's difficult to like make like right-wing voices heard, and because it's just like pure populism at that point, and I think it's dangerous to kind of spread like hate speech, and yeah, often they just spread like misinformation and about like marginalized groups, and yeah, do you want to like clarify it? Yeah, thank you.
So when I mentioned that, the innovation in it was the approach. I have never seen any other younger, right-wing person to go in university campuses and to have this discussion with whoever comes in the campus. Yeah. The innovation is in his approach. That was the innovation that I mentioned. For his stances on many other things, I don't agree with him. But that's irrelevant if I agree or not with him. I have my opinion about him. But the thing that he went and he confronted whatever the audience will be in, his last, for example, in Utah, he goes there and he confronts it. Many of the people, well, I don't know, I haven't followed him. Huh? Some of them, I guess, agree, some of them do not agree, but that's fine, That's the approach. If it's a hate speech, there are institutions that can go and see if there is a hate speech or not. This is the institutional fight. I was talking more about the engagement. He didn't shy away from confronting people which thought differently than him. They don't need to agree. I haven't, maybe you are engaged with these youth movements. Maybe you know I don't know. And I was made aware because what has happened, to be honest, and that I followed him before. But once it was made public, this is what I think that it was, that I haven't seen anyone doing that from, let's say, the right-wing campus. Maybe they do exist, I don't know. But my point is that no one prevents you or any other person of doing the same things, right? The question is how much we are ready today to confront the people that we don't like, and they do, they think differently from us. I think they're less and less. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you know better. But the thing is that I've seen a lot of people that, okay, you're against the gay community. That's it. The communication stops. I was watching one of these comedy shows. So they were like, they were getting married. And it was one of Bill Maher comedy show. So the girl left the groom on, just before getting married, because he didn't know elements of the movement Black Lives Matters. Okay, if you're going to marry that person, maybe you should discuss previously, and then kind of discuss also these issues. It is important. We are not living in a parallel world, huh? You need to confront also. I don't like many of the steps that are being conducted now in the European Union. It's either you engage or you just say, okay, he's the bad guy or she's the bad guy, and that's it. I will recognize that as such and do not engage. So those are the two options that we have. And I think especially in recent period, we have a lot of kind of people that think that we should not talk with the ones which have opposite opinion on us. I completely am against that. We have to listen. I don't have to agree with that person. Not at all. Maybe we'll have completely different opinions. And what we are seeing now, there is a change. If you see in the European Union, previously we were discussing Brexit. We were discussing, I don't know, Frexit or whatever they're going to call it. Now, if you look at all these, kind of political elites within the Union, they don't want to leave the European Union because they understand this is a very nice club. But they want to change it from inside. So also you see that shift from their perspective. So that means that all the others need to adjust, because what they will try is actually to modify, to try to influence the institution inside to look better or the way they think they should look like. So that's the engagement. And we should not shy away and say like, that person is bad, the other one is bad. But actually confront them and, okay, you subscribe to these values when you enter the European Union. Now you have to respect them, not, kind of go against them. So I think this is, if I clarify enough, but I think this is important. And when it is this hate speech, when all of this, their institution against that. And for disinformation, guys, I don't have to name a president of a very powerful country in the world. In one speech, he produces 25 disinformation or misinformation. How you're going to fight against that? What, you're going to actually, fact check that? You can fact check. You will see immediately what you will get out of it. So you have political leaders which are producing these things on a daily basis. The thing is how you're going to fight against it. How actually the truth or the fact will come out. And actually, people can actually see what it is. Not to believe it what someone actually said. At least now with this, that you can search. And I will finish with one more example. Nigel Farage, one of the one that supported Brexit mostly. He was saying, there will be much more money. The millions that we are giving to the European Union will go for their own NHS, so the health system. I guess you have seen it, the day after Brexit. So it wasn't more than 24 hours. He was on a morning show, and then the journalist asked him, like, okay, so now all of these millions will go to the, to the health system. It will be much better. He was like, well, I don't know about that. It was less than 24 hours on a campaign that, they will leave the European Union because they're going to be more sovereign. There will be more money for the UK. Incredible. This is, and we, if we leave these people just to go around that and they, say disinformation, well, they're actually lying. We don't have to put a kind of specific word, lies around, then we are in a huge problem. And we have to engage these people, not to, to leave their kind of, lies go around the room, and more people which are not very good in, kind of checking, will believe in it. Thanks, sorry. I guess,
thank you for clarification.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any? Okay, we have one more. Take a seat.
So I asked my neighbor if he cannot tell very well, then he can help me. Nah, Tony. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. I liked the way you said what you say, but I would like to be more precise.
Okay.
Like you see, I am a black woman, and my voice is maybe the voice for people like me, BIPOC, like I said before, and people from Global South. I would like to ask, what can they do? What can we do all so that their voice can be listened, and so that they can also, what they say, can also get a fair and sustainable impact in the world?
This is very difficult question, sorry to say. So, yeah, that's the very difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just think a little bit, but I don't know if I have the if I have the answer. Like for quite some time. Well, I will also, regardless that I live in, well, now I live in Ljubljana, but I was living for all my life in Skopje. We were actually preaching to the world how things should be done, like kind of a high moral value. I don't know the right answer, I have to be honest. I don't know the right answer. I have to be honest. I guess, you start from what are your strengths, and then, move your way up. So, I don't know, I don't know, to be honest.
Why it is so difficult? Why?
I don't know I've never been on the African continent. So I really don't know the continent as such.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot say how, I try to speak about the things that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the continent. I have never been. I don't know how. What would be the best approach. I guess you will have the same problems as many other, regions encounter. But you have to work on your strengths, and then based on your strengths, to get the appreciation and kind of the rapport from the others. I think that would be the most, I guess that would be the most logical explanation. What I can say that there is a moment here now especially in this geopolitical kind of world that is happening, in which the major superpowers, here I'm also taking in consideration the European Union, are trying to change their approach to other regions in the world. And that's the opportunity for you. Maybe they're doing it for different reasons, not the ones that you would expect. But that's, you know, if we put that on the side, there is this kind of a moment in which you can change the kind of the relationship between, I don't know, I'm speaking more about, you know, the European continent and the African continent. Maybe it's for rare earth materials, maybe it's for something else that they're interested in, but that's also, you have your own interest, and then it's kind of where you're going to meet. What you want from them, what they want from you. And it is important to, you know, to discuss openly and freely, and then to say, you know, what are the truths that you have, what are the truths that Europeans have as such, and try to build a relationship which will be sustainable in a longer period of time. Not just use the opportunity now to get whatever it is from the other side, but kind of, you know, establish these links, establish this connection that may flourish in the period to come. I think that would be my best guess, because it's just a guess. As I said, I don't know what will be the best option.
Thank you, but I was also speaking also for the BIPOC who are living here, or special auch in the Balkans also, not only in the continent Africa. No?
Well, in the Balkans, I don't know. We had previously. It's a story. We have this movement of non-alignment. It was based in, you know, during Tito's time. And some of the friends that are traveling around, let's say, your continent, people still are remembering, you know, when this personality, when this political leader was actually, you know, kind of visiting, and there was like a huge kind of very good relationship between the countries. Now, with all of these small countries around, which they're difficult to focus on, you know, the objective that they have, and like the first foreign policy objective is the European Union, and for them it's difficult to focus on this one. With the capacities they have, I would say it's extremely difficult to expect anything, sorry to say, but you know, I think this is the reality. This is the reality on the ground. I wish it would have been different, because I know that there are, you know, there is a lot of opportunities for that, and maybe that's something that we need to change, as also as, you know, kind of Southeast Europe, the Western Balkan countries. I think it's also the question of capacities. You know, these people are, you know, focus even, you know, it's difficult to them to focus on the things that they have as priority, and as this is not a priority, you know, even less. So, but that does not mean that we have to work together in kind of changing this.
It is not their priority, but it is our
priority, and we manage to put it on the table, then it will be much more different. Absolutely, I completely agree with you. Because like, you know, and what this friend of mine was saying, you know, he was coming from Serbia, and he was saying like, you know, I told them like Serbia, they didn't know where do I live, in which part of Europe. And then I started like telling him, you know, the countries, and as he's dealing also with Western Balkans, he was like, Bosnia, Macedonia, Albania, you know, Kosovo, and he was like, no. And then in the end, I remember, you know, Yugoslavia, I said, okay, Yugoslavia, I know. So you see, but it was a bigger country, bigger capacities, different viewpoints on world politics. So, but you're completely right. If these political elites don't know how to put it on the table, we should find a way, because it is of essential importance. And, you know, with the rare and scarce capacities that they have, they still can increase or make this relationship much better. I completely agree with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think you have something to add.
I would just add something from, let's say, human perspective, because, and now I'm risking with my unpopular opinion, But really, I think the biggest mistake of the civil society sector, because I'm coming from civil society sector and the human rights organization, is that we are always starting from the differences. We try to be united based on our differences. Come on, of course that we are different. I mean, it's like a common sense. But we never try to see what are the, our common issues as a human beings, no matter what color, no matter what age, or, So I think it's the big trap that somehow human rights movement also, because I can talk from that perspective, I can't talk from the perspective of state officials, that they somehow bite it, And also the tolerance, for me, is the biggest bullshit, I would say. What does it mean? So if I tolerate you or you tolerate me, it means that you see me as the other, that we are not actually the same as the human being. Of course that we do have the differences, So I know that it sounds philosophical, but I think this is the biggest problem of the civil society sector and the human rights movement. Always insisting on the differences. Come on, let's, insist on at least the least common
denominator.
Yeah. So, but this is my opinion, and I don't think how much time we need to pass by that we somehow, change that.
Yeah, it needs time, but it is not normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What I want to see it is this, to sensibilize about this problem. And you do it very good. Vielen Dank. Danke, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question and the comments. Thank you. We have time maybe for 2 more questions here. Okay. You want to come up here? Take a seat. Maybe ask a question and leave a comment as well.
Yes, thank you so much for your explanation. But I also think that, I will put it like that. I agree with you. We should not talk about the differences. You are right. But on the other hand, it's very much important also to talk about that. But this is the reality. Me, I'm black, and there's racism, and this, and this, and this. So we can't just put it down. We have to talk about these issues, really.
I agree with you to
Thank
talk
you.
about it, but not to insist. I think that we are all the time insist on the differences, because of course that we are different, So.
Yeah. Just to keep it in mind and to work hard to change the situation and, yes, to inform the society and this and this and this. This is what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. We have another question right here. Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Hello, I am Lorena Karamani from North Macedonia, from Tetovo. I have exactly 2 questions. As a young politician, I have, for first, in politics, all politicians truly are ready to share power with youth, or does it still treat them as decoration during campaigns and conferences?
I can give you an immediate answer. They don't want to share it with anyone.
Yeah.
Not only youth. Youth is only one group. They don't want to share it with anyone. If they can grab as much as power as they want, as they need, as they're, willing to, they will. They are not ready to share. The sharing comes at the moment when you are represented. There is a number of voters which come behind you, that you have it. And then when the recognition will actually start. If you're being quiet all over the place, not important, they can, kind of take a little bit of this, that, they won't share the power. Sharing the power makes them weaker. if they have these huge democratic values in them that they need to share the power, that's great. But we are seeing, less and less of these political leaders which are actually willing to share the power, and by doing that also to kind of, not to be the only ones on the political stage. But that's less and less that we are seeing. If we can, if they have this in their own beliefs, that's fine. But I'm seeing less of these people on the stage. More like, I want it all for myself. And of course, they don't feel also responsible if once they have it all, if they, they don't do something else, something in the right way. Because they also become less and less accountable to the people that voted for them. So I don't, again, the same whole. I don't think that they are willing a lot to share. The sharing comes with, who stands behind you.
And
You have anything to add, maybe?
Me?
You look all.
I don't like. I think he gave a really complete answer. So.
Okay, thank you.
And the second one is, how can we ensure that the youth lead as anti-corruption initiatives are taken seriously by local institutions and not just treat symbolically? Yeah.
That's a good one. So, we have been working on anti-corruption policies as an organization that I worked before. We have worked for 20 years, more than 20 years. The question was how to be taken seriously.
Yeah. As young generation.
Yeah, again, it's very difficult to say how, only from the youth perspective, but how to be taken seriously. Well, the only way would be if you kind of expose them. That's the only way. Because if they are keen to do corruption, you would not be taken seriously in your anti-corruption efforts, because that will mean they will steal less money than they expected while they're in power. You won't be taken seriously. Start exposing them, and then you will see what will happen. It's not only, you have this investigative journalism that they're doing great job. Once they start exposing all these, criminals around, then you see how the whole, thing changes overnight. So once you start exposing them, local leaders, municipal councils, whatever it is, then you will be taken seriously. Otherwise, they will give you all the promises, that you want to hear. Now they write, great speeches. ChatGPT is here. They will write, make a reference to this and that. They will say the right things, but that does not mean that they will do something specifically. And this is the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are coming maybe to the end. Maybe one more question, and if anybody has one. Okay, that's gonna be it with the questions. Now we are finishing to the end. I want to thank the panelists here for such beautiful insights and sharing the experiences with us. We had opportunity to discuss about the Youth Participation Index today on this panel. How is it? It's a great tool that we can use back home for new projects, new assignments, new decisions in our local communities, in our countries, and with governments. As well, we talked about how we governments remain a serious obstacle in Western Balkans. I mean, young people, we are not here, we are the active citizens. We can hold everybody accountable for their decisions. So it's up to us to get up, to stand for us, stand for our countries, stand up for our communities, and continue working on better Western Balkans. Before we close up today, I would like to invite you maybe to say final closing few words before we leave for a coffee break. So.
Yeah, I would just add, because I just don't want us to, in a way, idealize also the young people, because they have the right also to be, wrong, to make mistakes, to, be bad or good, whatever. So it doesn't mean, referring to the previous question, that if the young people would be empowered, that they wouldn't like to share it as well. You know, so, but just give the opportunity, you know, for that. And also, in terms of what you said, that we are calling someone accountable, I also think that responsibility and accountability is a two-way story, a two-way street. So if we are asking for someone to be accountable and responsible, we also have to be accountable and responsible. So that's from my side.
Thank you.
I would like just to add, like, my co-panelists just mentioned the opportunities. As a young person in Europe that lives in a European country, we have many opportunities, and I think the same goes also for the countries that are in the accession process. We have many opportunities to be the change makers, to experience new things, and to be actually a proactive force, to be the ones that hold people accountable, as it was mentioned, to see something be done. And so I would just like to invite you all to be the dice force and to believe in what we are doing. And yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I really enjoyed the debate. You know, most of the debates that I participated, they sound a bit different. So I really enjoyed. Hopefully, I didn't want to be the one that, you know, preach and let's say how things should be done. From my perspective, I hope at least I helped in the process of your thinking. Of course, you may agree, you may disagree with me. That's up to you. But hopefully, I have helped you in some shape or form. I really enjoyed. I really, you know, kind of grateful to the organizers that they invite me and have the opportunity to discuss with so many, you know, different people from different countries, different audiences, and yeah, hope this will continue and you will have 23rd much more to follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And finally, I would encourage all of us here today to continue creating spaces where young voices will be heard, valued, and let's transform our Western Balkans in something bigger, something better, and create, maybe even join the European Union one day. Thank you very much.